Hey guys, so in this tutorial I'll be showing you guys how to get these box braids really fast. So the first portion of this tutorial will just be basic how to box braid hair. I'm going to show you a really easy to follow method because I know whenever I was trying to learn how to box braid, I tried to watch many videos and they just confused me more and I just didn't understand how to do it. But it's really simple. So hopefully you understand how to box braid really easily with the first portion of this video. And then so in the second portion of this video, I'll be showing you guys how to box braid your hair really fast using crochet method because I don't have time to be spending a really long time doing my hair. So yeah, just stay tuned for both of that. And yeah. So before you get into box braiding, I find it helpful to just first practice braiding your own hair on its own, just this normal 3-strand braid, and make sure you're comfortable with that, right? So you're just using your index finger and your thumb to grab the third piece and you pull it up through, and then you just do the same thing over on the other side using your index finger and your thumb. You grab that one piece and pull it through. Just make sure that you're comfortable with this just basic braiding, because if you can do this, then adding the next step is super easy. So for the next step, you just grab your braiding hair and you hold on to 2 out of the 3 pieces of braiding hair. And then what you're going to do is you're going to divide your real hair into 2 parts and add each of those halves to the 2 pieces of braiding hair that you're holding. So right now you have 2 pieces of your hair attached to 2 pieces of the braiding hair. Then you're going to use your index finger and your thumb to grab your third piece of hair, using the same motion that you did earlier when the braiding hair wasn't even involved. And the same thing on the other side, grabbing that one piece and pulling it through. And then you just keep on doing the same thing, back and forth, and then you're just back to basic regular braiding once you've done the first few braids. So just in case what I did earlier was confusing to you, here's another view from the back. So I have my braiding hair and I'm holding on to 2 of the 3 pieces of braiding hair and adding 2 halves of my own hair to those 2 pieces. Then I'm getting ready to use my index finger and my thumb to grab the third piece of hair that's on its own and pull it through. So you use your index finger and your thumb to grab the third piece of hair and pull it up through, just like that. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side, grabbing the third piece of hair and pulling it up through. And then it's just back to basic braiding, going side to side, doing the same thing over and over again. It's just that simple. So now that you know how to braid, let's get into the crocheting part. Now the hair that I'm using is this gray ombre bobby box here that I found at a beauty supply store. Okay, so the basics of crocheting is you use a crochet needle to crochet on the already made braids onto cornrows that you have. So I didn't want to crochet all of my hair, so before I got into the crocheting, I just braid normally, and those parts would cover up the crochet portions. So since I was thinking I was probably going to wear my hair predominantly in the middle part, I structured everything around a middle part. And obviously you can change up the parts as I'm doing right now, but I just thought I was probably going to wear it in a middle part. But I don't know, I'm liking the side part. But anyways, so I braided 2 rows along the top to cover up the top crochets. And then I braided along the sides to cover up the crochets when I pull my hair up in a ponytail. But you don't necessarily have to do this, and I'll show you why later. In order to do this, I started off by just braiding 2 braids at the front where my middle part would be. So I'm just using the same exact method to braid these braids. But so since I am using crochet here, all I had to do was unravel the crochet here, and my braiding hair was already nicely into 3 pieces for me. But if you are using braiding hair, which you can do, it's also easy to just get it into 3 pieces. You first grab here as thick as you want the braid to be. Then with that here, you grab a third and wrap that third around the other pieces of hair. And voila, you have 3 equal sized pieces. I knew about how big I wanted my braids to be, so I used those braids to sort of give me a guide of how big of a part I should section off for the regular braids that I would do. But I was really excited to crochet, so I didn't finish braiding all of these parts, and I just got into crocheting because I wanted to show you guys what I was going to do next. But feel free to go ahead and finish braiding that. It doesn't matter what order you do any of this stuff in. And the way I cornrowed my hair is I just went, so like this was the middle part, and I just structured everything based on that, and I did all my braids going back. So I think cornrowing deserves its own tutorial. If you don't know how to cornrow, just let me know and I'll make a separate tutorial. But it's basically the same exact thing, except whenever you're grabbing that third piece and pulling it through, you're also grabbing more here from your scalp and braiding all the way down. So at the end of each braid, I just attached the braiding hair, just the same way as you are like box braiding your hair. You divide your real hair into 2 parts, add those 2 parts to 2 out of the 3 pieces of braiding hair. Use your index finger and your thumb to go under and grab the hair, the third piece of hair that's on its own, and then use your index finger and your thumb to do the same thing on the other side, and then keep on going and going and going like I showed earlier. Yeah, you guys got it. It's easy. So once you do that, you just pretty much the same thing over and over again, like just going back and braiding down. And so these braids are what's going to provide the basis for your crochet braids. And these braids definitely don't have to be perfect, especially if you're doing it on yourself and you can't see what you're doing, because the braids are just going to be covered up with the box braids anyways once you crochet on the hair. So all of this part that I'm cornrowing, I'm not actually going to ever braid, because I'm just going to stick the already pre-made and ready to go braids with a crochet needle. And you can get a crochet needle from pretty much any beauty supply store, but if you're a DIYer like me and you do your own hair a lot, you could also just get a kit that has pretty much everything you would need to do your own hair online from this place called Coral Beauty Solutions. And the kit comes with just basic stuff like the crochet needle, regular needle, thread, comb, just things that you need to do your hair. And it's more convenient that it's all in one kit, and it's cheaper than buying everything separately. And the cases themselves are actually really fancy considering how cheap it is. And they also have comb kits, so yeah, definitely recommend. I'll leave the link down below. So once I got towards the center with the last 2 braids, I just combined them into 1 braid. And here you can sort of see like my finished braiding pattern a little bit. So once you're finally done braiding, the ends of your braids will be disguised as box braids, and that whole like row in the back is just braided already, good to go. So here I'm just showing you how to actually attach the pre-made braids onto your cornrows that you have just braided. So you're going to start by putting the crochet needle through the braid like that, and then latching on the braid onto the end of the latch and closing the latch, and then you're just going to pull the latch through your braid like so. And then once you have your braid pulled out fairly enough, you're going to stick the needle back up through and then grab the end of the hair, and then now you're going to latch that onto the needle and close the needle, and then you're going to pull that through the hair like that. So that's what's going to create like the knot, I guess, and make it stay. And then there you go. And just maneuver with it a little bit and it looks like a natural braid, just like that. Now that I've showed you how to do that, I just went back and finished braiding up the rest of my hair that I left out to braid normally, and I'm just braiding it the same way, just simple braids, braiding all along the top and just the sides, and these will be the braids that'll cover up. So this is how it looks right now, and I'm just going to proceed to crocheting on all the hair. I noticed that if you braid looser, it's a lot easier. So if you can't braid very tight, it'll actually be a good thing for you. You'll be able to crochet these easier. If your braids are a little bit tighter, you're just gonna have to wiggle a little bit more to get the braid through. There's really no need to do that many crochets into your hair. You can leave some spaces empty as long as they're covered at the end of the day. You don't need all of that. So what I'm doing is I'm starting by the top to see where I actually want my crochets to lay and how full that makes them. So I'm just like going through the sides and crocheting, and then I'm looking and saying, do I like it that way? Should I add more underneath this one? And if I don't think there needs to be more, then I'm only gonna put a few every once in a while, just to like make sure my braids underneath are covered, so you can't see like crochets, or so you can't see cornrows peeking through your box braids. And right here, I just want to close that gap a little bit so that the part will have an ending. So I'm just crocheting through 2 cornrows and pulling the needle through, like pulling the box braid through and forming the knot, which will just automatically close the part right there, like that. And then I just continue to crochet under that like normal. And so like on the sides, I want to be able to pull my hair up and wear it up. So whenever I'm crocheting on like the first cornrow, I'm making sure that those crochets will lay in between my natural braids, like the braids that I braided myself. So whenever I pull it up, like everything will just fall into place without it being bulky. So that way I don't have to put a crochet on every single part of the cornrow. I just only put a crochet braid on like those gaps in between the braids that I braided myself, if that makes sense. But yeah, you just have to work with it and just put braids wherever you want them and just play with it. So technically you don't have to do these extra braids that I left out if you want to make this method even faster. I just chose to do it just because it allows for versatility. So let me get up closer to show you. So because of this braid pattern, whenever you crochet on the hair, the crochet braids look like natural braids, and there's really no need to have something to cover them up. I was just doing it so I could have multiple parts. On this side, I have actual braids, and on this side, I have the crochets. And you wouldn't even be able to tell that they were crochets and not actual braids. So you could just skip this whole middle part of braiding the middle and just crochet it, because the crochets look like natural braids themselves. And same thing for along the sides. If you know you're not going to put your hair up or anything, you don't have to braid the sides. So back to crocheting. The color didn't actually come exactly like this. On some of the braids, I darkened the roots because I just felt like it didn't transition well from my scalp into on. So I decided to just darken the roots a little bit. And I did that with a alcohol paint solution. And if you want to know more about that, I'll make a different video. I ended up using 4.5 packs. I bought 6 packs because last time I ended up using 5 packs and I wanted to use a 6-pack. So I don't know if it was just a different brand, because I did use a different brand earlier, so maybe those packs came with fewer braids in it, but I don't know. You're just gonna have to test it out yourself. So once you're done crocheting, you are ready to go, and you have these box braids that you did in 1/3 of the time, and no one will know that you cheated using crochets, and it's just super easy and super fast. Anyone can do it. Like, just go out and try it on yourself. I'm really feeling these braids. I really like the color. It's very different. I've never had gray hair before. I've been wanting gray hair for the longest, so I'm glad I finally got it. So yeah, this is how I give myself box braids really quickly, and this is just the method that works best for me. So yeah, be sure to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you want more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next time.